this much closer to Naruto and Hinata's wedding, and the Kages have decided to come to Konoha Village for a grand conference, which means we're going to be reunited with some of our favorite characters, like Killer Bee and Gaara. But I will say, if you didn't like the last couple episodes of Naruto Shippuden, you're probably not going to like this one, as it's very high on the funny and not so much on the seriousness. What I will say is, as a hardcore fan of the Naruto series, I think these episodes are absolutely pleasant, and they put a big smile on my face. And honestly, I wish they would just do a whole spin-off series about Rock Lee and Tenten at this point. Their interactions with each other are absolutely some of the funniest things that I've seen from the series, and I have yet to get sick of seeing Tenten feel incredibly awkward around all of these really weird characters. So, this week's episode was all about the Kages coming to Konoha Village to have a big conference and also discuss the big Naruto and Hinata wedding, which is only a mere couple of weeks away. Most of the episode focuses on Gaara the Kazekage, the soft-spoken friend of Naruto, who is desperately trying to figure out what type of gift he should get for his friend. His brother Kankuro feels that they should get something large, extravagant, lavish, something that would really appeal to Naruto, and honestly, I don't think he would hate anything like that either. And throughout most of the episode, everyone is trying to give him advice on what he should get. Tamari, on the other hand, is mostly just in the background of this week's episode as she fears that she's going to run into Shikamaru, and of course every time they interact with each other and things start to get lovey-dovey, it gets incredibly awkward. That is until at least the end of the episode. But I also love the fact that you have the other Kages coming into town, so you're going to have some great interactions with these characters. Case in point, the return of Killer Bee and his absolutely horrible rapping, yet Killer Bee still continues to be one of my favorite characters from the entire series. And basically, he starts having this big competition with Kankuro, where they're trying to come up with the most ridiculous gifts possible. Something that is just so lavish and out there that you have to be amazed by it. Titanic proportions in terms of the gifts that they want to give. However, Gaara is conflicted throughout most of the episode. He appreciates the fact that he's starting to learn a little bit more about Naruto, even going as far as to having ramen at his favorite shop, which I really wish we could have actually seen Gaara trying the ramen. I would have just loved to see his reaction to it, maybe see a different side of him. But no, he's still pretty much classic Gaara throughout most of the episode, and that's what leads to the ultimate conclusion, where he decides that Naruto doesn't necessarily need an amazing gift. He doesn't need something that's going to be completely useless to him. Simply, Gaara is going to go to the wedding and appear just as his friend. He's going to make that very clear for him, and honestly, that's exactly what I feel is right for a character like Gaara, especially with the relationship that he's had with Naruto in the past, where Naruto in many senses is the one who actually saved him from his complete insanity way back in the first part of the series. So now Gaara is officially going to be giving it back in spades. What I will say is, this episode, though, is dominated by some of the most funny, ridiculous, and hilarious expressions that I've seen from the series. I can't even begin to describe some of the weird scenes that are in this one, all of the dance sequences, all of the little chibi moments with Rock Lee and Gaara. But honestly, for me, the funniest parts of the episode definitely come from Tenten. Watching her reactions when she sees all of these ridiculous characters is just gold. It's absolutely fantastic, and it just puts a big smile on my face the entire time. I also like a lot of the little subtle moments of this episode. There's this one scene where you have 3 of the future Kages all hanging out together. The scene also had a lot of potential for seeing characters who've never interacted before finally meeting each other, and it didn't disappoint. Some of them very subtle, some of them very loud and ridiculous. But there are little moments, like Ino and Choji hanging out with the Raikage and Darui having some freaking barbecue. I thought that was a little small, but very pleasant moment. Like the moment I mentioned with the Kages earlier, the scene at the very end of the episode, where Shikamaru is confronted by Tamari, and they decide to go have some dinner, and it's all under the sunset, and it's all cute and wonderful and bubbly. It's just, it makes you feel good watching this stuff. And of course, all the scenes with Rock Lee this week, who's continuing to me to be the star of this, like, pre-wedding arc. He is just so full of life and has never lost any of that since his introduction at the beginning of the series. In fact, it's only got stronger. I especially love that he's hanging out with Gaara, a character who initially was very antagonistic towards him, practically destroyed his leg and almost turned him into a completely immobile ninja, until eventually they basically became best buddies, and their personalities could not be more different. And just watching his just enthusiasm for wanting to help out Gaara is just great. You just can't help but want to be fueled by it. It is the power of freaking youth, after all. But really, this one right here, again, is just showing us some of the classic characters from the series, trying to come up with a nice little gift for Naruto. Even the freaking ramen shop guy, who throughout the episode is struggling when trying to figure out what to give Naruto. Of course, it's going to be ramen related, and by the end of the episode, Naruto is going to get a gift that I feel is probably going to be his favorite, which is free ramen forever. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden? Like I said earlier, if you didn't like the previous episodes, you're probably not going to like this one right here. However, if you're a hardcore fan of the Naruto franchise and you love its characters, I highly recommend checking out these episodes right here, as you get to see them interacting with some other characters that we've never seen before. Not to mention, it's just got some really funny moments and some fantastic animation attached to it. All the scenes with Rock Lee are gold. I mean, they're just great. I especially loved the callback to when both he and Guy and Tenten were basically playing fake family with each other, and just the look of them when they're in these like weird costumes is just insane. Especially Guy, who is now bald and wearing the tie on his head with Rock Lee being the wife. It is just such a funny freaking image. Even more so, there's freaking Naruto and Gaara dressed up as Las Vegas go-go dancers. Speaking of which, some of the things that they say in this episode are just nuts. Like the fact that Killer Bee is going to be doing this special dance, which is apparently going to be impressing Naruto, and that's when Kankuro decides maybe they should do something like that. And there's apparently a dance called the Hidden Sand Samba. Does anybody else want to see that? I totally want to see that. I want to see Gaara actually doing something like that. It'd be very out of character for him, but then again, this is like the opportunity to like finally do that. Ultimately, though, however, that's really all I have to say about this episode. It was just a pleasant experience getting to spend some time with these characters and see them reflect on their friendship with Naruto and how they should actually express that friendship at the wedding by giving either a crazy gift, something from the heart, or something that means a lot more, which is simply just being a friend to someone. And I honestly think it's going to lead to a very emotional conclusion at the end of the series. I can't wait to see how it's going to wrap up. And there's even more shenanigans to come, as in next week's episode, it looks like they're going to be focusing on the characters of Kiba and Shino, which I think is going to be very appropriate, because now we're going to be getting two characters who have a very strong relationship with Hinata. They know her very well, so they're actually going to be thinking maybe we should do something for Hinata as well. And speaking of which, I do find it really fascinating that there are two key things that have been missing from these last couple of episodes, and that's Naruto and Hinata themselves. They're not really in these episodes aside from some of the weird fantastical fantasies that the characters are coming up with, but they're very odd that they are absent from these. But maybe they're just trying to build up the fact that, they are getting prepared for this wedding, they're very busy, and when we finally do see them, when they're going to be in their kimonos and dresses and all that stuff, we're just going to be blown away by it. It's going to be an emotional moment that I think Naruto fans all need to check out. That being said, this was a great episode that you guys should definitely check out if you're fans of the series. I loved this episode right here. Again, I know that this is like a very contentious kind of arc right now. A lot of people feel that the series is being milked dry and that they should just get to the conclusion already. But honestly, this is the perfect like decompression after all of the craziness at the very end of the series. And it's sort of like our final moments with these side characters, which I honestly think are one of the cornerstones of the Naruto series. Naruto's entire development is based on his relationship with these characters and being friends with them, and getting to spend this final moments with them is honestly, I think, very important. And it happens to be done with good production value and lots of great humor. So check it out if you want a little bit more. If you want to skip it, you can skip it. But honestly, in my opinion, these episodes are pretty fantastic. I'm going to give this one right here a 5 out of 5. I absolutely loved it. I think most people will consider it a 3 out of 5, just kind of an average episode. But I love these characters, and that's why I love spending time with them. So that's my thoughts on this week's episode. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about it in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things Naruto related. Please leave me a comment or two, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like it, and share it with all of your friends. I will see you guys next time, and as always, stay dandy, baby.